Washington State has the highest chain restaurant prices in the nation. City of Seattle has the highest takeout prices in the nation. We're number one in highest everything. Yeah, these are the results of progressive policy in Washington State for the last 35 years of Democratic control. Let's get into it. Here we go. Is this a shocker? I mean, is this a shocker? No, this isn't a shocker at all. This is Western Washington is just, it's phenomenal. It's phenomenal to watch. You got, City of Seattle is electing a unqualified, inexperienced socialist who couldn't afford to live in Seattle, and her parents pay for, thousands of dollars a month in help because she can't afford it. But she's going to be running a city with a budget of like $9 billion. Should work out fine. It'll be good. It'll be fine. I've been posting on Instagram podcasts for days, weeks. You know the drill. I mean, this is front row stuff to some libtard insanity. That is what you are watching in real time. You are watching the demise of what was once a great state and what's, Seattle, a great city, because of policy, progressive policy. Oh, we're so progressive here. We're number one. And highest chain restaurant prices. Many Washington diner wallets are likely feeling the pinch from going out to eat, according to a new report from the state's leading hospitality trade group. Washington Hospitality Association recently released its yada yada, found Evergreen State is the most expensive for eating out in the lower 48 states, with chain restaurant prices 13.6% above the U.S. average. Got average here. Here's Seattle. Here's Washington. I mean, it's so consistent. Where I notice that the most is when I go to Oklahoma to visit my parents, and that's what I'll be doing for Thanksgiving this year again. I'll come out of a meal, and granted that there's no booze. I'm not boozing it up when I'm with my parents, just not doing that. There's no alcohol, so there's no adult beverages. But still, I come out of those meals and I'm like, did they forget to add that burger? What's the dealio? Why is this so cheap? It's like, why is this so cheap? I'm like, this is normal. And Seattle is ridiculously expensive. Report examined average menu costs by looking at 20 chains with a presence in most states. Difference between cheaper and pricier states can be attributed to varying wages, operating costs, and real estate. Just all the components of running a business, right? So even gasoline is super expensive in Washington. So anything requiring, getting food around, real estate, super expensive. Commercial real estate, super expensive. Operating costs, utilities are expensive. Wages, some of the highest minimum wages in the nation are in Seattle. And how's that working out? How's that working out for Seattle? We got Starbucks shutting down a bunch of places. You got little businesses closing down all the time. And then you got a bunch of disgruntled millennials voting for a socialist because they can't afford a damn thing because of years and years and years of layered progressive policy ideology that is coming to fruition. And this is what you get. We're number one in a whole bunch of categories you don't want to be number one in. So, while President and CEO Anthony Anton said that although it's disappointing that Washington is the country's least affordable restaurant state, it also isn't surprising. We need to work harder to keep policymakers understand that their consistent actions to increase costs are having a real impact on Washington families. This is after a effing $9 billion in new taxes. Yeah, we're going to hire a moderate. We're going to hire Bob Ferguson. He's pretty moderate. Now, taxes just up the ass, right? I mean, and then we're going to hire a socialist who's going to hand out free nonsense, right? To run Seattle. That should work out fine. Like I say, yeah, this is going to be great. This is going to be great. Getting a socialist into office in Seattle, it is going to be fantastic. Just not for Seattle, right? I'm sitting front row, just get out the popcorn going, let's let her rip. This is going to be awesome. Oh, it's going to be so great. It's going to be so great because nothing is going to get cheaper. Nothing is going to get cheaper. It's only going to get more expensive. And that is the brain lock of progressives, that they think that their actions are going to have an intended result, and they have the opposite. And then they're like, we should probably try it again because that backfired wildly. Let's try it again. Let's give this a run again because I don't know why that didn't work the first time. It's kind of like the idea of city-run grocery stores. Hey, let's do this again. This is going to be great. It's going to be cheaper for everybody. And the constituents just rob the stores blind and they can't make a go of it. It's an absolute cluster in I don't know, Kansas City. That just happened. But hey, let's give it another try, right? Top restaurant costs are located on the West Coast and in some parts of the Northeast. Washington, Oregon, California. Just guaranteed. And it's become so obvious now. It's so obvious. You got the Democrat-run states, and then you got the Republican-run states. Most expensive, least expensive. Down the line. California's the second most pricey state at 13.3, above the national average. Oregon, third highest, 9.1. Meanwhile, Kansas, Oklahoma, and Louisiana, most affordable states. Oklahoma right in there at 5.9, below average. Average here, we're below. We're not number one. It's when you don't want to be. Fort Worth, Texas, and Charlotte, North Carolina are the most affordable cities for dining out. Fort Worth, Texas. Been to Cowtown? Where did I go to? I went to the big amusement park there. Six Flags in Fort Worth. I think that's what I did way back in the day. Way back in the day when I was just a young man. The report quotes an anonymous owner of a Seattle Italian restaurant who said that when city officials wanted great affordable restaurants, their dining room was packed with families. Now, the only ones who can afford my art are lawyers, tech executives, and tourists. Not even real estate guys. I no longer really go out to eat here because, back when you could get a decent meal for whatever it was, way less than what we're paying now. Say like $10, right? Now it's closer to 20. And when you're all said and done, it's 30 something bucks per person. Back when you could kind of justify, all right, that's a little bit more than what groceries are going to cost me, but it's done, it's finished. I'm going to enjoy that dining experience. No matter what it is now, I can't justify the cost. I'm just like, that's not worth it to me. I'm not okay with that. So here you go. Here's my second story. Seattle named most expensive U.S. city for takeout. For takeout. It's the whole thing is just, is it shocking? No. Is it? No. Let's get rid of that one. All right, and this is the actual study itself here for that first one, cost of dining report in the lower 48 states and the top 20 U.S. cities. Take a look at this, folks. We got Kansas. These are the restaurants that the cheapest dining experience, right? We got Kansas. We got Oklahoma. Pretty Republican. Louisiana. Texas. Pretty Republican. Weird. Alabama, Georgia, North Carolina, Arkansas, West Virginia, Mississippi, Tennessee, Indiana, North Dakota. See the common theme there? Yeah, not a lot of lip tarts, not a lot of progressive ideology to F things up, right? But let's go to the bottom of the list. Let's work our way from the bottom back up, right? Let's see what the progressive ideology is reeled in here. We got Washington, number 1, California, 2. We got Oregon, number 3, Massachusetts, followed by New York, Colorado. Colorado has been... It has really, really worked its way into this progressive nonsense, hasn't it? It really has. All of a sudden, they're like, hey, wait a minute. Even though we're by the mountains, we're by the Rockies, we can be progressive too. And they are. Then you got Connecticut, and then you got Montana. What happened to Montana? When did Montana go so sideways? That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous, right? And you got Arizona. So those, your top 3 there, your top 5 there, 6 there, 7 there with Connecticut are just straight up policy. This is what you get when you vote a bunch of Democrats, specifically progressive Democrats, into office. You get hosed. You get absolutely hosed. And when you have Republican control, that doesn't happen. It's just, is that is that on purpose? Well, actions have consequences, don't they? They do. Here's why Oregon and Washington are sinking in taxes as Idaho soars, because you've got leadership in Washington and Oregon that never says no to a new project. Oh, yeah. We need kumbaya lessons for Zimbabwe male prostitutes. Oh, you betcha. Let's fund that. Let's give them $20 million. We need that in our lives. Basket weaving for transsexuals in Siberia. Oh, you gotta have that in your life. All right, taxpayers, we need this. We're going to tax you. $9 billion in new taxes. And that's what you get. Idaho, under Republican leadership, says, And that's why so many people are going there. It's just, it's not that hard to figure out. Idaho emerges as a standout, ranked 9th overall, a conservative leader whose adoption of simple flat tax model has propelled it into the top tier of fiscally healthy states. The least healthy states, run by Democrats. Isn't that weird? That's just strange, isn't it? Yeah. Seattle now faces the highest DoorDash delivery prices in the United States. I'm just going to go through a litany of nonsense here. And this is the nonsense, right? This is the absolute nonsense you get when you put a bunch of progressives into place. This is the end result when you put a bunch of progressives in place. In leadership positions. And now we're going to do a socialist in Seattle? Oh, can hardly wait. Literally, just get out that popcorn. I don't even have to think about Mamdani in New York City. I got my own mini Mamdani here, and her name is Katie Wilson, and it's going to be epic because literally nothing that she comes up with is she going to be able to have a good answer for. Let me give you an example of that. This is her website. Here is her platform. Here we go. We're going to go through this super quick. Get results on homelessness. Well, progressives are the ones who drive up the numbers of homelessness. Take, for instance, $724 million has been spent in 2024 in Portland, Oregon. $724 million. Homelessness went up 61% in the last 2 years because of progressive policy, specifically housing first, that doesn't work. It doesn't work. Affordable and abundant housing. How is a socialist going to come up with affordable and abundant housing, right? What are they going to do? You're going to lower land prices? You're going to subsidize land prices? You're going to reduce the cost of gasoline? You're going to reduce the cost of labor. You're going to reduce the cost of just real estate in general. How are you going to do that? You're not. You're not going to do any. And abundant housing? We're never going to have abundant housing. This is a state run by Democrats. You're never going to have abundant housing. You're never going to have affordable housing. That's gone. You gave that up long ago when you started electing Democrats into office. Trump-proof Seattle. This is just flat. This is delusional. This is delusional. And this is what you get with Democrats in Washington State. You get delusion. Results on homelessness. Affordable and abundant housing. Trump. What do you mean Trump-proof Seattle? From what? From exactly what policies are you Trump-proofing Seattle? It's like no kings. Yeah. All right. Yeah. There's no kings. But, whatever you say, no secret police. Yeah, you betcha. All right. That's literally delusional. It's mental delusion. And it's mental delusion about affordable housing, transportation, and mobility. That should go well. Public safety, laughable. With all the libtards we have in office in the state of Washington, we have the highest rate of shoplifting in the nation. We have the fewest police in the nation in Seattle because of libtard policy, because they're delusional. They are mental. A city for working families. Are you effing kidding me? This is tech bro central. You're never going to have a positive impact for working families. Working families can't afford Seattle. You should get out. If you're a working family, you need to commute in to your employment from way far out. That is just, unfortunately, how this has gone. And you can blame Democrats for the expensive component of your life because we're looking at other states going, cheaper housing, just a litany of things. Cheaper housing, cheaper food, cheaper energy, cheaper gas prices. Better schools. It goes right, lower taxes, more pro-business development. It just goes right on down the line. So city for working families, that is laughable. Climate action and environmental justice. Nobody gives an F because that doesn't really matter. It just doesn't. It's just nonsense. It's psychobabble, libtard nonsense. It just, economic development and vibrant neighborhoods. So you're going to tax the F out of businesses and wealthy people, but then you want economic development. What are you going to do? How are you going to do that? Idaho's doing that. Texas is doing that. Florida is doing that. But how are they doing that? By reducing taxes, by reducing layers and layers and layers of nonsense into everything, pulling a building permit. San Francisco is the most difficult city probably in the world to build in. Why is that? Progressive policy applied to the building permit process. Let's go. Okay. And then we got progressive revenue. Well, hey, you know what? She's going to get some progressive revenue. And what that means, and let's go, Brandon Johnson is also on board with this. This is kind of his thing, progressive revenue. That just means taxing big business. That means taxing the wealthy. That means taxing those who basically carry more than half of the tax share already, and they're going to leave. They're already leaving. They're already in the process. So progressive revenue, yep, she can do that, and she will get that accomplished. And that, in turn, will exacerbate the doom loop that you're going to see. Because you already got businesses coming from Seattle, Amazon being the big one, to Bellevue, because it's such a shit show here. So let's just keep going here. All right, here's another one. Study determines Washington has the highest Uber prices in the country. Uber, rideshare. Why is that? Yeah, because they monkeyed around with, our drivers need to have this amount of guaranteed hourly income. Therefore, we're going to enact this legislation. It's just a bunch of, again, psychobabble, progressive ideology that doesn't work. You put it into real life and, we're number one. To the moon. Uber prices determines Washington has the highest Uber prices in the country. Here we go. You might want to consider public transit next time you're heading somewhere without a car. Well, I don't think so. You can get killed on public transit here in Seattle. You literally can get killed. You can get murked in Seattle on the bus. Get on the bus, Gus? No thanks. You got so many just absolute nut jobs running around. You don't want to get on the bus. The bus isn't where you want to be. That's not going to work out well. Let's keep going. Here's Seattle Times. Washington chain restaurant prices are highest in the U.S., study says. Okay, let's get down to this. Now, here's so this is the Seattle Times. And what they will put in is they'll put in this little thing. Then check this out. Eating out in Seattle will cost you. And this is applied to Seattle. The only place that is more expensive than Seattle is San Francisco. which Seattle is basically San Francisco light, right? It just is. All the nonsense policies down in San Francisco have worked their way up to Washington because, why not? Same thing in Oregon, a bunch of libtards getting together. Hey, man, this is going to be great. And it's just going sideways. So San Francisco, most expensive. This is eating out, right? Dining out. Seattle, it is second, and then New York City, and then San Jose, and then Los Angeles. I mean, that is just a utopia of progressive ideology there, right? And it's just so, all right, so who you got running this city? Okay, yep, therefore it's going to be this. And it's become so clear that that's the deal. Washington leads the nation in expensive gas prices. Again, we're numero uno. Numero uno. Oh, nearly 47% higher than the national average. Let me read that again. Nearly 47% higher than the national average. God, the other day I spent $509. I had a birthday recently. My birthday was on Friday, November the 7th. It was on the 7th. And I went and filled up with some gas, and it was $5.09 a gallon. I'm like, what? That is insane. You know what's crazy is that the cash price was $4.79. So 30 cents a gallon cash discount price. I just don't run around with cash on me anymore, right? I just don't. So Washington, and the reason we have the highest gasoline in the nation is, again, because we don't have an income tax and they got to squeeze money out of us somehow. So we did this stupid cap and trade thing with the carbon emissions. And it's only going to be pennies on the dollar, on the gallon. It's only pennies. And then here we are. It's probably going to be more than pennies. Most expensive gas prices, 47% higher than the national average. This morning on the premiere, I saw people quoting 2 something a gallon. And then somebody was like low threes here in, I think it was Houston or something. But I mean, if you put a 2 in front of somebody in Washington State, they'd probably bang on the pump and go, it must be something wrong because there's no way I'm getting gas for $2 a gallon. I mean, that ship has sailed long ago. We haven't seen gas in the 3s for quite some time. It's been in the 4s for a long time. Maybe we had a little dip down into the 3s. This is what you get. Here's Fox with most expensive city for takeout. I mean, the thing just keeps on a-going. Yeah. I'm Johnny-style candidate living off parents' money could ouster incumbent Democratic mayor. And that has happened. That has happened. So on top of all this, we're number 1. We're electing a socialist with literally no experience, not at politics, but at life. Age 43, her parents are still chipping in couple of grand a month just so that they can live. She and her unemployed husband can live in Seattle so she could run for office. When you talk about getting set up for failure, that is set up for failure. If my son is 43 and is not able to afford his own housing costs, which she has already said that she can't really afford Seattle, Katie Wilson, new mayor, and can't afford childcare, well, maybe you shouldn't be living in Seattle. Huh. That's a weird concept, isn't it? Self-responsibility. And that is where that is the disconnect. So with Seattle, the reason that Katie Wilson, a wildly unqualified, inexperienced 43-year-old with an unemployed husband living off of her parents, the reason that she gets elected is because you got a whole bunch of kids in Seattle that are pissed off that things are so expensive. So let's get the socialist lady in. This should be great. And they don't really understand that the socialist policies basically mean you got to tax everybody that's left. And after a while, the wealthy people leave. And then you're just left with the working class and the lower class. So the working class is going to take the brunt of this eventually, but it's going to take a while. In the meantime, that toilet bowl. It is a swirling. It's a swirling. Next number of years with Katie Wilson in office, I hope she can push some policy through so we can just go, there's a terrible idea. We called it back then, called it now. This is awful. You're going to see rent go through the roof. You're going to see costs just go through the roof. We're already, as I mentioned, number one in so many categories that you don't want to be number one. Hey, we're number one. Ugh, that's not good. But what is good, we're going to have podcasts to talk about for days, weeks, months, years. Oh, this is great. Just not for Seattle. All right. Thanks for being here. I'd love to have you subscribe, do all that good stuff. I'll see you on the next episode. Bye for now.